Hello, everyone. Welcome to Foreigner Escapes to the Philippines. This is my third video. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully that you'll get the feed or subscribe to my channel. It would be great. But the main reason I started it is because I'm retired now and I have extra time, and I want to share what I've done here in the Philippines and with my family, share to your family, and maybe it'll help you out if you're thinking about visiting the Philippines or moving to the Philippines. I picked the name Escape to the Philippines because most of my life I lived in the States. Well, all my life until I met my wife now, a Filipina that I married. I had two families before that, two other wives in the U.S. over the years. I'm typical American, born in the early 60s. Everything was wonderful growing up. I pretty much believed everyone for their word of what they said and how things worked in the world. And I'm getting, I got a rude awakening of that on many, many subjects that seriously affects my life and affects most people's lives concerning, so many things: taxes, how the financial system works, how the medical industry works. There's so many things. And I started getting a clue that something is fishy. It felt there's something wrong with what's going on. It almost seemed too good to be true all the time. And that so many people were struggling. And the American dream was supposed to be, work hard, be honest, do the best you can, work your nose, keep your nose to the grindstone, don't get in trouble, don't, do things illegal. And over time, you realize that most of the stuff they were telling you was sometimes just a half truth, or maybe the people telling you the way it's supposed to be or the way it was what they believed in was the truth. But when you really dug down and really researched and read the laws, read the Constitution and understand the Constitution and the different laws that there are in whatever country that you're from, that's the biggest problem, that people believe other people without doing their own research, people say, right? And now today with the internet, the research is easiest it's ever been, right? And it got to be so bad the last few years with the Federal Reserve bailing out these bad banks, bad businesses, and all these super elite rich people they're never going to jail for anything. They could be borrowing millions from the bank, and their business was a scam, and it gone belly up, and they'd get a slap on the wrist, and then they'd be back out in the world. But you and I, the regular hard-working person, they get caught speeding, and the cops come down on them with guns blazing. And that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it was between taxes, fees for everything, licenses required for everything. There's always costs just for trying to live your daily lives. It's gotten to be complete slavery and insanity out there, at least in America where I was. And I lived in several states. I was born in Maryland. My dad was in the Navy, so and my brother's was in the Marines, so kind of a military family. I never did go in, but I was law enforcement. I went to college for law enforcement. I went to a police academy. Uh, Almost had a police job a couple times, but I was led away from it for some reason. And I'm kind of glad now that I never really went into it. But I have a lot of that training, hand-to-hand combat, tactical, firearms, all that stuff, how to conduct yourself in an investigation, all that stuff. And so I'm pretty, I'm pretty solid as far as, I always stayed out of jail. I never got into any problems with things in life, but it just, things weren't right, didn't feel right. So that's why that was the beginnings of, and also, like I say, I had two other families in the States, and first one, divorce, had two children. First one, divorced, she left me for another guy. Sure, there's always takes two, but the laws are formulated now in most of the Western countries that no matter what the situation is, even if the woman's in the wrong, for whatever, even if she's on drugs half the time, she can still force in the courts for the man to pay unbelievable high costs of alimony and child support. Don't get me wrong, the man should always care and support his children, but not thousands of dollars a month that only goes to the mother and she can do whatever she wants with it. Half the money never sees the child, never goes to the child for clothes or school or whatever. Most of it does not. I've seen that firsthand. So the laws are against families staying together because it's financially beneficial for the woman to divorce her husband on any excuse or reason that she wants. That's another reason why I'm here in the Philippines. It's the only country that I know of left in the world that the government, along with the church here, which is the Catholic Church is the big church here in the Christianity that's in the Philippines, both say divorce is wrong and illegal. It's the only country left in the world that I know that that's the case, where it's illegal to divorce in the government. You can have annulment here, but annulment takes many, many years, 5 to 10, sometimes longer, to get an annulment. It's just another way to, get out of your responsibilities and whatever. When times get tough these days, what happens with families? They just leave. They just leave each other. They just take off. Don't get me wrong. We all have our challenges. We've all made our mistakes and so forth. But, for the most part, I believe in humanity, and their heart is majority good. Sure, there's a few here and there, a certain percentage in the world that want to do harm to others in whatever way that is. But for the most part, most people are good. And sure, we could go on and on in that direction, but anyways, that's why I escaped here, because it became so bad and the honesty was gone of institutions, government, neighbors, and even into the family. It was getting so bad. Family against family, which is people, the son or the daughter stealing from the parents, or the mother or the father was taking advantage of their children, or there was so many abusive enabling going on with drugs, and it's beyond nuts. So here in the Philippines, it's a lot less of that. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's so corrupt in the third world countries. Well, I think the corruption is everywhere. It's just you're not looking for it. So anyways, that's why I'm here. There's my son John. He's 21. He's 21 now, and he's autistic, and he loves the pool. That's the whole reason why I built that pool. It was for him. And every day we don't have guests coming and swimming in the pool, my son John swims the pool, and he loves it. He's an Aquaman. He was born in the water. So, anyways, that's just a little bit of a background of, why I escaped to the Philippines. And it's just, it's like I say, it's beautiful here. The costs of living are a lot cheaper than the states in the Western world right now, especially with inflation raging. Inflation is showing up here somewhat also, but not near as bad. And excuse me. And the Philippine peso is pegged to the US dollar. So if the dollar moves, the peso moves in whatever direction. If the dollar goes up, then the value of the peso gets lower, but your exchange rate is higher, so you get more pesos, right? And vice versa. So that's just the thing. I get remittances from the States. Like I say, most of my pension's gone from what I've built here in the Philippines, but I still have some remittances. It amounts to really a very small amount. In the U.S., I could never survive on what I live on, and I have 10 people. My wife's father, my son John is autistic. He'll always be with me until I'm dead. And my younger son, 2.5-year-old son, and then we have my wife's brother and his wife and 2 teenage girls going to school. So it's all together. Oh, plus I have one housemaid that helps us here, helps me with my son John. She's kind of like a caregiver to John, because he's he has issues with his bowel movements and stuff, and he's autism. He's really not that bad on the spectrum, but he needs care, and we all try to pitch in as best we can to care for him. But anyways, I have 10 people altogether that I care for every month, and my monthly remittances is approximately $1,700 US dollars per month. Very small amount for caring for 10 people and everything it takes here. And any donations we get from the pool, like I say, that pays for maintenance and upkeep and the chemicals, that it takes to care for a swimming pool. So there's really no other income there. We get a little bit from our coconut harvesting, but very small, less than $1,000 per year between the 3 harvests. So it's a very small amount. I'm not on Social Security yet, so my government pension, which is Social Security from America, that doesn't start for me until after age 62, and I'm not even 60 yet. So, like I say, it's a very small amount, and like I say, I have lots of people I care for in my household, so it's easy for a single guy, or even a couple, or even someone coming here with and finding a Philippine girl or woman that, for guys that want to just date. But most of the foreigners that come here and date, and, well, I shouldn't say most, but at least half end up marrying. Because, as we get older, and it's mostly older foreigners that come here, we want to have someone to care for us. And in the States, what happens? You get too old, you get thrown in by your family, and not every case, but a lot of cases where your family will force you to go into a old folks home, and so you're pushed into a place you don't want to be. But that's the way it is. And here, the family is everything. The family is everything. It's a big families, all care for each other the best they can. Well, I don't want to really go any longer. I try to keep them under 15 minutes, these videos. So I thank you very much for joining the channel, and subscribe if you'd like. And until next time, so long.